devastating impact of shack fires frequents our news headlines. This widespread destruction negatively impacts communities, resulting in the loss of personal belongings, properties, and even worse, the loss of lives. The Department of Environmental Affairs, in partnership with the Stellenbosch municipality, Working on Fire, and an NGO, Design for Change, collaborated on a fire simulation conducted on the 19th of February at the Languedoc Sports Field in Stellenbosch. The
fires, as you know in particular, have caused untold miseries for the most vulnerable of our people. And the victims of fire in informal settlements often lose everything, little that they have. Their possessions, important documents, sometimes IDs and so on. You know what, how important an ID is. And at times, even tragically mostly, their lives.
The fire simulation will mimic a structural fire. 9 fuel-loaded structures were constructed. 6 traditional structures will be non-fireboarded, and 3 green cluster structures will be lined internally with a variety of fire-mitigating interventions. In addition, industrial fans will generate wind speeds of 30 km per hour to help aid the spread of fire. MagnaBoard, which is magnesium-based fireboarding, will be lining the inside of Structure 1. MagnaBoard is commercially imported material and SABS approved. Demonstration. Front row structures 1, 2 and 3 fires ignited simultaneously. Structure 1 lined with MagnaBoard. Structure 2 no fire retarding intervention, and Structure 3 green cluster prototype consisting of eco-furniture fireboarding composite with fire retarding paint. Smoke coming out of green cluster prototype 3's windows. Structure 2 engulfed in flames and fire steadily progressing. Structures 4 and 5 ignited by fire spreading from Structure 2. Structures 4 and 5, no fire retarding interventions, fire progressing. Back row ignited. Structures 6, 7 and 9, no fire retarding interventions affected by progressing fire spread. Green cluster prototype 8 with eco-furniture composite remains unaffected by fire. Structures 6, 7 and 9 engulfed in flames. Structure 1 with MagnaBoard and green cluster prototype Structure 3 with fire retarding board, fire remains contained and structures still standing. Structure 2 with no fire retarding intervention buckling as fire intensifies. Structures with no fire retardants engulfed in large flames. Structure 2 completely collapsed and smoldering. Back row structures with no fire retardants buckling under the severity of the fire. Test structures 1, 3 and 8 still standing, unaffected. Structure 1 with MagnaBoard and green cluster prototype Structure 3 with eco-furniture fireboarding composite, fire remains contained. Structure 5 collapses against front of green cluster prototype Structure 8. Structures 4, 6, 7 and 9 completely collapsed and smoldering. Fire retardant structures 1, 3 and 8 still standing. Structures 1 and 3, fires remain contained after ignition. Structure 8 affected by direct flames from Structure 5, which ignited untreated window frames and door of green cluster prototype of Structure 8. All 3 test structures 1, 3 and 8 remain standing. Working on Fire helicopters and 802 fixed-wing bomber water bombs next to the structures to demonstrate how aircraft can be effectively used to contain the spread of fires in informal settlements during daylight. Structure 1 contained fires. After the demonstrations, fire services attended to mopping up of the test site. Stellenbosch Municipality's acting fire chief shared his views and observations of the test.
Well, the testing of the shacks was a great surprise to us. We see that the boarding on the inside of the building helped immensely with retarding the fire spread and assisting with maintaining the integrity of the building. If you look behind me, a few of the shacks that were standing here earlier are gone during our salvage operations, but the ones that are standing are obviously the ones that were used with the boards that were inside the building, and they protected them from spreading the fire or even gaining fire from the outside from radiation or direct flame.
Conrad Sidego, Mayor of Stellenbosch, was proud to be a part of this test, and his vision is to make Stellenbosch the innovative capital of South Africa.
Millions of people living in informal settlements, and we in Stellenbosch have our fair share of people living in informal settlements. And I think we need to find means and ways of countering the conditions under which they live, one of which is countering the shack fires that we experience.
Minister Molewa emphasized the importance of education, fire prevention activities, and the success of the test.
This program has, since its inception, been working with marginalized communities around the fire awareness and education, as well as prevention of a fire and its suppression. I think we need to celebrate this great success. It does mean that in an informal settlement, if we construct such structures, they will not catch fire, and therefore saving the lives and possessions of our people who live in those shacks.
Shane Christian, General Manager Western Cape, shared his observations of the Green Cluster prototype fire test.
Our objective was clearly achieved, where we said that we want to limit fire spread for informal houses, and that was achieved.
I'm very proud, ladies and gentlemen, to say that today we have an experience that works.
Thank you to all those who made this test a success.